Hey there, it's Commander Davis, and in this episode we're taking my Sidewinder for a spin. Now, I was going to take it down onto the planet's surface because where better to check out manoeuvrability than flying around craters and canyons. But I've just spotted an unidentified signal source. Threat 1, let's go have a look. So this particular Sidewinder is A-rated, modules everywhere, and fully upgraded, but I'm not entirely sure I'm going to be able to take on a federal dropship. That said, I have help. So there's our enemy. It's not actually red yet. And there's someone else shooting at them, that's the system forces. So I'm really just sitting on this guy's tail and watching what's going on. You can spot I've got gimbaled weapons, they're tracking the target. I've currently got my energy pips set even. Unfortunately, I don't have a kill warrant scanner on this. Anyway, while we're waiting for the system forces to do their thing and put a dent in that ship, let's go have a look around the Sidewinder's cockpit. Now, if we look at the Sidewinder's cockpit, that's actually modelled on a BBC Model B keyboard layout with function keys at the top, BBC being the original machine that Elite was released on. Down there is a flight manual, similar to what came with the original version of the game. And the Sidewinder is a very small ship. While you're looking in 2D, the cockpit layout, or the window layout on the cockpit seems a bit odd. But as you're able to look round the cockpit, you realise that you've got this sunroof type effect, and the cockpit is actually a canopy over the top of you. So this canopy allows you to have an excellent view when you're engaged in combat. Now at the moment I'm still just watching what's going on. This guy's now getting fairly mullered from a number of different angles. And I think it's time that I should join in.
Warning, temperature critical.
There we go.
Target destroyed.
71,000 credits just for loitering and opening fire at the last possible moment. Right, let's go explore this planet. So I've picked what looks to be the biggest crater on the planet, and that little mountain range in front of us is basically the impact point of that crater. So if you look at craters, you'll notice that right in the centre of them is this little raised area, and that's where the impact has caused the Earth to raise up. A little bit like if you dropped a stone into some water, you get that raised area in the middle. However, with craters, that raised bit stays. And all I'm doing now is flying reasonably low at top speed and just having a look around. Now unfortunately you lose a lot of the effect outside of VR. You really get the impression of flying low over the landscape and quite a good impression of speed. Now it's quite telling that this landscape is dull and boring. It's brown, there are a few rocks, and very little else, and yet flying the ship across this landscape, because you can actually fly the ship, is much more fun than flying a ship over a landscape in No Man's Sky, where you're basically pointing a mouse. A bit of a shame really for that game. If we could have had this flying across planets with different foliage and actually properly flying across it and exploring, that would have been a lot more fun. So as it is, we're back to Elite and exploring barren, airless planets, or in this case actually I think technically a moon. And I think it's time to go find out just exactly how big that mountain is. I mean, your sense of scale is slightly warped because it's a long way off, and it just looks like it's a hillock on the horizon. So again, nicely skimming over the surface. I love how the sound changes as you get close. There's various creaking sounds that come from the ship as well. If I use a lot of yaw input, it creaks. It'll also creak if I make a lot of vertical or roll inputs. So we're still not that close to that mountain range. So as you can see, the distance is making the height very, very deceptive. I really do need to try this in something like my ASP. I won't get the same speed, but I'll be able to see below my feet. Actually see the landscape rushing past. And that range is now beginning to loom in the distance, and its size is becoming more apparent. You can see from the altimeter that I'm getting reasonably close to the ground. Not that close. Don't particularly want to stack the ship. And we have finally made it to the crater. And now we start flying up to get up this mountain. So we're at a 45-degree incline. And we're travelling at a few hundred meters a second. While this looks like it's the top, it's actually a bit of a false summit. And we're still climbing. We've still got a positive rate of climb marked on the HUD there. And you can see if we look across the ground, it's quite a steep climb. And in fact, this is the summit. And I believe it's something like 6 kilometers off the ground. That's something I worked out a little later. Anyway, this bit is for Commander Yost. I've put my gear down. You'll notice it's wanting me to rotate the attitude of the ship, but also to nose up. That landing indicator is showing me rotational arrows and arrows above the line. So if I nose up, my alignment's good, I can then go down. So if you're having troubles landing on a planet surface or a moon surface, you need to make sure that you're actually level with the ground in all axes. And that indicator will show you, so you're rolling and pitching. And when it gives you a good alignment, just drop down to the ground. Anyway, I'm off to go play in my SRV. Cheers.